In this video, what we're going to be doing is using the data from the previous videos where we created an AI client intelligence system to store all communication with a client and then be able to make really smart additions to our CRM platform to help automate certain things. So in this video, what we're going to be doing is taking a look at this step 2 here, which is to set up basically client sentiment widget in our CRM platform that tracks all the communications and actually displays it in easy to view data. So what we're going to end up with is something that looks like this. So when we come to meetings, now I've copied a number of meetings over from our live database. I'm going to use this meeting here, for example. I'm going to assign it to our test company. I'm going to save. And then what's going to happen is if I go to, it just populated here. If I assign it to our client sentiment test meeting, and then I actually go to the workspace and I view the client sentiment test workspace, you can see that it's got this sentiment rating here. So what it's done is it's assessed, so it just added it then. It's assessed the latest communication. It's extracted, so you can see here, the meeting was about 5. So this is actually a test meeting. It's not a real meeting. It was me uploading a video. But what it's done is it's analyzed it. It's given it a sentiment score, and then that's changed this to yellow. So we've got this kind of sentiment tracker that's tracking communications from and to a client through email, through meetings, and through messages. And then it's extracting this information and creating sentiment scores. So you can kind of monitor a client's health as you go. So we're going to explore exactly how this works and how we got it set up. So if you haven't watched the previous videos on how the meeting transcription's working and how the inbound and outbound sales systems are working, first off, go and check those videos out. So you'll see how we've created this meeting transcribed workflow, and you'll see how we've created the scraping company-wide emails across your entire domain and then uploading those to Pinecone and also creating database fields for them. And so what is happening is those are getting added into our database. And then what's happening is we have a database trigger on these fields. So you'll see here we've got a number of different database fields in our application. And the key communication ones are email, meetings, and messages. And what we're doing is we're scheduling a workflow for each of these. So you can see here, we've got schedule API workflow client AI fields, meetings, schedule API workflow client AI fields, and on messages as well. So what's happening is we're scheduling this workflow and we're using an N8N workflow. So if I come back to N8N, I go client sentiment. This is how we've set this up. So what's happening is whenever a new meeting, email, or message touches our database, or it gets modified in any way, we re-trigger this workflow. And what it does is it polls this AI agent, which has the following expression. So it goes, given the communication data below, please give the client a sentiment score 0 to 10 with an example, and also post across a summary of why you gave that sentiment score and just a brief overview of what the meeting was about. And then we pass basically the JSON body, and I'll show you what we're actually passing to the assistant. So what we're passing is the date. So we go, on this day, the following communications were made with the client. Then we pull all of the emails, all of the meetings, and all of the messages that happen on that day, and we send it to the AI agent. Now, when we're getting the meetings, what we're extracting is the meeting participants and the meeting transcript. For the email, we're getting the emails to email address, from email address, subject, and body. And the message is just the to and from and the message body. So we're sending basically all the communication data. And what we're doing is here we've created just a simple API logging feature. So if there's some sort of issue with N8N or whatever, if the following API call returns an error, we're going to log the error message so we can debug it. And then we basically have two workflows. We have a database field called client sentiment log, which looks like the following, and I'll actually show you. So basically all that stores is the client data field, so we can link it to a client. It stores the score and it stores the summary. And what we're doing with that is we're using that to display on meetings. We're using it to display on the client data type. We're using it to display on leads. So we can basically track the client sentiment across the entire journey. So it's showing on projects, it's showing on leads, and it's showing on clients. And I'll show you, so this is in the project view, but before a user even gets to a project, we can view them in the clients field. So here we've got clients. Now, this is John Doe. So we'll view the client, and you'll see here we have the client sentiment. Now it must be a different, let me check So because this is a test, I haven't actually assigned it to a client. johndoe@example.com is the client. So if we drag to clients, should be I see what's happening here. So it's not displaying because of the minimum height. So what I'm going to do is put a minimum height of let me go back to create a container. View client, and if I come back here, I'm going to set the minimum min height to 200. Yeah, it's better. If I do the same on the leads and I set the min height to 200, what should happen is we'll be able to view that client sentiment on the client record now. Cool. So we can see here, now I'm actually going to make it a bit bigger than that still. Let's do 300. Let's even do 400. And basically what we're keeping track of here is on our leads and on all of the clients and the projects, we can now see actual live up-to-date client sentiment responses. So here we can see the actions that have happened, the client sentiment, and this is really powerful. Now there's a lot of further directions you can go here, and what we're actually going to talk about in the next video is how we can start to do things like give performance reviews on sales calls, measure client suitability for projects. So when a client is in the lead stage, they're not yet one for a project, can we scrape all this information and A, determine the performance of the sales agent on the call, B, can we determine the suitability of a client for your service offering, and C, can we determine, again, the client sentiment, but also the client's attitude, and rate that client on a certain scale of how easy they are to work with, because we all know that there's a portion of clients out there that can be very, very difficult to work with and can cost your business a lot of money if they have a really negative outlook, really difficult to please, etc., etc. So what we're going to do is develop this further in the next video, but what we've really addressed here is we've used all of the information that we did in the first step, which was gathering a knowledge base for your AI on your clients, or you could call it an AI client intelligence system. First step was building the knowledge base. Second step was using that to create an AI agent to then be able to do things like assign client sentiment. And then third step is we're going to start to look through the different phases of the service lifecycle and see where we can actually integrate AI to really help improve the processes in your business. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. And I hope you found this useful and you can use this to build your own AI client intelligence system for your own business.